Hi. Hey guys, Ben and JB here with you for Canine of Mine. We have something a little bit different today that we're going to do. Oh, thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. We have something a little bit different we're going to do today. Um, Funny story. I used to be a BMX rider. Not, not very good or anything, but I loved it, and I did it for many, many years. Um, and these days, my sense of self-preservation overweighs my desire to ride. Insert middle-aged joke here. Um, but anyway, I found myself watching a couple of different YouTube BMX channels a lot over the last few years. One of my favorites is the Scotty Kramer channel. I also like Floridea. And for those of you who watch those channels, you could probably guess who one of my favorite riders is, and that's Trey Jones. Now, Trey has a gorgeous little bulldog named Marty. He's not as pretty as yours, sweetheart. Marty's a great dog. But he has trouble thank you. He has trouble controlling himself when the dudes are out riding, and that means he can't hang out on the ramp and just chill out with everybody. He has to be put back inside to keep everybody safe. So what I thought was this shouldn't be a very hard problem to correct, and so we got one of our trainers that writes for the website to put together a little step-by-step plan of attack so that Trey and the guys could teach some manners to Marty. I should probably watch this video as well. So we're going to go right over to Aaron, and we hope this is helpful. And we hope it's not only helpful for Trey and the guys, obviously we want it to be helpful for anybody that's trying to teach their dog a little bit of self-control. As you'll notice in the video, Aaron's going to talk a little bit about mat training, and we have a great article up on the site about that. Everything you need, what kind of mat to use, how to go about introducing your dog to the mat, the whole thing. So be sure to check that out. I'll put the link to that page in the description below.
Hi Trey, my name is Erin Jones and I am a certified dog trainer and a certified dog behavior consultant. And I just wanted to offer you a few tips to help keep Marty safe and out of your way while you're filming. So I have a few things that I wanted to suggest that might help you and Marty stay safe. I think at this point it looks like he's just having a good time. He wants to chase the bikes, but that can be really frustrating and he ends up having to go in the house. So that's no fun for anybody, and I know you guys want him to be able to hang out with you. And I think a problem with that too is that, he's not really equating going in the house as like a consequence of his actions of chasing the bike and getting in the way. So it's probably better if we kind of teach him what we would prefer him to do in those situations. So hopefully these tips will help you out a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is just a right off the bat thing that you can do. Just get him his own space, maybe a bed or a mat or something along those lines, out of the way, so he's kind of back from all the happenings, and give him something fun to do. So something like a bully stick, which is a long-lasting chew, or a Kong. Kongs are great because you can stuff them with all kinds of different things, so they never really get too boring. It could be like canned food or peanut butter or cream cheese, whatever he really likes. And if you freeze it, it's going to last a lot longer as well. So I definitely suggest freezing it, and it should last him a good 45 minutes at least. So that's something to consider, especially if he's food focused, which most dogs really are, especially if we're using something that's that delicious. The second thing I think would be really good is to teach Marty what you would like him to do, especially while you're actually biking and riding your bikes on the ramps or whatever you do. So to keep him safe and to keep you guys obviously safe as well. So that would be to teach him to go to a mat on cue or on command. I prefer the word cue though. So all you'll need to do is get a mat. So I really like a bath mat because it's easy to like cart around with me if I'm going other places. Something along those lines. You'll need some high value treats. So by high value I mean something really tasty like cheese or hot dogs. Doesn't have to be a lot, but just little tiny pieces are really high valuable of high value to our dogs. And so that's really all you need tool-wise, and then you're just going to need to practice. And it's a pretty simple behavior to teach, and it can be really handy for a lot of things. So hopefully this will help you out. The simplest way to explain this is to get your mat, put it down on the ground. Be prepared though when you put it down on the ground with your treats all ready to go. Because if he does walk onto the mat, great, that's essentially what we want him to do. If he doesn't, just walk onto it all on his own, that's okay. You can take a treat in your hand and lure him onto the mat with your hand, with the treat in your hand. When I use a lure, I go right up to their nose, not so they can actually get it, and then move slowly so that they follow that treat into the position you want them to be in. Once he's walking onto the mat and about to put all 4 feet onto the mat, you can add in your cue words. That's the word you're going to use to ask him to go to his mat in the future. And so I would suggest something like place or mat, whatever you're comfortable with and you can be consistent with. So lure him on. As he's walking on, you say place. Once he's on there, give him a treat from your other hand, so not the one that you're using to lure him onto the mat with. And so practice this a few times, then have him come off of the mat. So as he's coming off of the mat, give a release cue. So your release cue could be something like relax or okay or all done, something along those lines. So it's basically 2 behaviors. One is walking onto the mat, one is walking off of the mat. There's a cue word for each of those. Onto the mat is place, off of the mat is relax. And there's a reason for this, because eventually we want to have him stay on the mat for a lengthy period of time, and so having a release cue is really valuable. So once he's consistently going onto the mat, coming off of the mat, going onto the mat, then what you can do is start to fade out your lure. So if you're using one at all. So have nothing in your hand and lure him with nothing and then treat. And then eventually, you know, open your hand a bit and maybe it becomes more of a point as you're saying the cue word to him. And then eventually you'll be able to fade that out and just ask him to go to his mat and then relax or release or whatever you're going to use as your release cue. And then eventually what you'll want to do is start to add some duration to that behavior, some time. And so what you're going to do is exactly the same thing, but just add more time in between your cue and your release. And you can even give him some treats while he's hanging out on his mat. The key is just don't go too far too fast. So if you're like, oh, well, he's really good at this and it's time to add some duration, I wouldn't go to like 5 minutes right away. Maybe start at like 3 seconds and then work up to 10 seconds and then 20 and vary it so it's not always consistently the same amount of time. And then, you know, slowly increase till he's able to stay there for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. You can even give him something to do, like a bully stick or a Kong while he's on his mat. And that way you're able to cue him to go to his mat and tell him, okay, you're all done, you can come interact with us now, and it's all safe. So that would be my recommendation. When you're teaching this behavior, as with teaching any new behavior, it's best to do it where there's little distraction and then slowly ease up to your end goal, which is having him lay on his mat while you guys are filming and riding your bikes. So don't expect that he can stay there, you know, right away. Just work up to that point. So, you know, practice in the house first maybe, or when no one's around, and then slowly start to add in more distraction to that as well. So hopefully these tips have helped you a little bit, and if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. So good luck. Thanks.
So there you have it, guys. We want to thank Erin for her hard work putting together the plan. We really hope it's helpful for Trey and Marty, and we hope it's helpful for all of our readers and viewers. So if you're trying to get your dog to learn how to just hang out and chill out while you're doing other things, give some of these tips a try. And like always, make sure you check out the site, canineofmine.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.